Hi everybody, welcome back to science. So, do you remember last time that we were talking about the three different types of clouds? Do you remember those names? Let's go over them again. There's those big puffy ones, they're called cumulus. And then those really long ones that look like a blanket across the sky, starts with an S, stratus. And then what about those ones way up tall, high in the sky, that look like those horse tails or very wispy? Cirrus. Those are the three that we were talking about last time. Do you remember though, last time I mentioned to you that there are three different layers that the clouds like to live in the sky? There's the low level, the middle level, and the high level. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that today. Okay, buckle up your seatbelt. I'm going to confuse you a little bit, okay? Put on your confusing helmet. Strap it in. Okay, do you remember we talked about Latin last time? Oh my gosh. Latin is a language that came from a long time ago, right? And it's so special because so many of the words that are in Latin, we still use in our language today, in English. Do you remember we were talking about some of those words? So like cirrus clouds, that means wispy, like locks of hair in Latin. And stratus, remember, it means like a layer, a big blanket kind of thing. So it means layer in Latin. So then also in the different parts of the sky, there are some Latin words for that. But the low layer is just called the low layer. But that middle one, it has a special word in Latin. It's very short. It's called alto. And alto in Latin just means middle. And then if you go a little bit higher up to the top or the higher layer where the clouds live, that one is just called cirro, which just means high. Wait a second, now I'm thinking about something. I just said cirro means the highest layer, but isn't that also so similar to cirrus? Let me check out that spelling. C-I-R-R-O, and then C-I-R-R-U-S. Connection. Okay, so now I'm going to show you, I'm going to draw a little bit to show you the different layers of the sky that we just talked about, the low, alto, and cirro. And I'm going to show you a little bit more about which clouds like to live in which parts of the sky. You ready? Okay, let's fly away. Cumulus cloud. All right, everybody, you made it. So here is the paper that I have that I'm going to draw. So remember, I told you that there are three different layers that the clouds like to live in, right? And I'm going to draw them right now. So I'm going to draw a line here. Draw with my pen. That's going to be the low layer, and I will label that in a second. And over here we'll have the middle, or the alto. And then up there is the high, or the cirro. So I'm going to put over here low, L-O-W. Over here I'm going to put middle, M-I-D-D-L-E. Or, remember the Latin word for it? Alto, that's right. A-L-T-O. I like that word because it makes the sounds that you spell it with. A-L-T-O. And then up here is the high level. But in Latin, do you remember the word again? Cirro. That one's tricky. C-R-R-O. Yeah, and there we have it. So, in each of these, remember we're thinking about our three different clouds. We have cumulus, that's the big puffy. We have stratus, us. That's That's like the long layered one, right? And we have cirrus. Right? So I'm gonna set that right over here so you can keep looking at it. So for our cumulus cloud, they like to live, well, first of all, before I tell you, where do we see them? We usually see them pretty low down. So I'm going to draw little tiny people. I imagine them even smaller because this is so high up in the sky. Little people are just down here, right? Like you can see houses and buildings. So over here on the low level is where we'll see cumulus clouds. And also, over here on the low level that we're still in, stratus clouds can also be here. And that's what we see a lot of the time too. So I'm going to draw one of those now. And now I'm going to label them so we don't forget. And then all the way up here, remember in zero, or the high level in the sky where the clouds can be, which one do you think goes up there? Yeah, that's right, cirrus. So I'm going to draw some cirrus clouds now. Okay, so right now we have our cirrus that live up here in the zero, or the high. And then over here we have stratus that we have in the low area in the sky. Also cumulus are in the low area of the sky. But what about this middle area? Well, here's one thing I just learned too that is so interesting about the clouds. The cumulus and the stratus can also be in the middle, because sometimes clouds, of course, they move around, right? So when they're light enough to be higher up, they go higher up. But guess what happens? Over here, the word alto, you remember, means middle. We gotta hold on to it. Okay, the clouds are getting lighter and they're moving up in the sky. Everybody hold on to the word alto, because look at this. When the cumulus can go higher up, here's what they look like. So do you see what happened? Don't these look just like these ones down here, right? But except now they're much smaller, aren't they? So when they go up into the middle layer or the alto, you still holding on to it? So I'm write the word cumulus because that's the kind that they still are. Cumulus. And now everybody, let's drop the word alto. We have to add it, because now it is called alto cumulus. Can you believe that? I think that is so amazing. And they look just so similar to the clouds down there, but they become a lot smaller and they're broken apart. They're not as big and puffy together. Have you ever seen clouds like that in the sky? They're a lot of fun to see. So if over here, when the cumulus were light enough to go up into this one, what do you think happens for the stratus when they go up there? Should we hold on to the word alto again and see what happens? Let's drop it. Alto, stratus. So does that make sense? When they're up in the middle layer, all that we need to do is just add the word alto. That's so fun. Okay, so now to finish up, I want to teach you a really interesting thing that can happen with stratus and cumulus clouds. Do you know what's also special about them? Is that when they have enough water, both the cumulus and the stratus can make rain. but they look a little bit differently when that happens. I'm going to draw a picture real quick. So look what happened. Our stratus looks like it's ready to have enough rain, or that it's heavy enough to have rain happen, right? But guess what also happens when it's starting to rain? Do you think the name stays the same? Oh no, we have a brand new, really cool word. Can you say it with me? Here it goes. Nimbus. Can you say that? Nimbus, that's right. So that's the word that we use, and we'll, just like we put it over here, for alto stratus, meaning that it's higher up, for when it's raining, we say, you ready? Buckle up your seatbelt again. Here it comes. Nimbo stratus. Nimbo stratus, and that means that it is a rain cloud. So if we jump over here to cumulus, the same thing can happen for that. I'm going to draw it really quickly. All right, so check this out. I just drew this big cumulus cloud that is going to be able to rain. So this, of course, gets a new special name. You ready for it? It is cumulonimbus, a long word, but very cool. And that's the name we give for big rain clouds. So another special thing about cumulonimbus is, guess what it can do? It's the only cloud that does it. Maybe you know already. That's right. Cumulonimbus is the only cloud that can make lightning. So that is a really special thing. Another really interesting thing about the cumulonimbus is, look at this. Remember, the regular cumulus that are low down and big and puffy, they're just down here. But the cumulonimbus, where does it go? From the low layer into the alto layer and all the way up to cirro, the high level. Cumulonimbus can really tower high up. So that's a special thing about the cumulonimbus. And also, while we're up here already, the cirrus, did you notice that I only drew the cirrus all the way up there? I didn't draw it down anywhere else. You know why? Because it can only live really high up. That means like the clouds that are up here that are cirrus are so light, and they are not holding a lot of moisture, a lot of water that's going to become rain or part of our weather as much. So cirrus are all the way up there and they stay on top. Phew, so that was so much information about clouds, wasn't it? So try to take a minute to just look at that picture and see if you can remember some of what you learned. So I'll go over it one more time. Cumulus are down here, big puffy ones that we see that don't really mean it's going to rain. I know it's next to the rain one. Over here, stratus sometimes can turn into a rain cloud, nimbostratus, but not all the time, but it usually means a cloudy day if we see a stratus. Nimbostratus, it might rain. Then if it goes up a little bit, it's in the alto, so it's altostratus. Oh, remember what happens to those cumulus clouds? If they go up a little higher, they start to break apart and they become altocumulus. A very interesting set of words these are, aren't they? And then let's go all the way up here. In the cirro, or high, we have the cirrus cloud. And then let's go on the horsetail. Cirrus pushes us right into... What do we have? The cumulonimbus again. All right, everybody, that was so good. So now it's going to be your turn. I have a video at the bottom of the page. It's a little bit easier stuff than this. It's just going over some of the clouds, and it's like a matching game for testing your memory to see if you can remember the different kinds of clouds for the different weather. If you want to make it a little bit more tricky, you could add some of the stuff in here to your memory game. Okay? I'm so excited to see your memory games after you make them so I can see how you're learning at home. Thanks for watching, okay?